here we go.
Yeah.
You know, Trust in Love and Open Up Our Eyes was a misleading theme song.
Yeah.
Alright, hi. This is 24/7 Princess Style, where me and my sister like to talk about our favorite shows, or our least favorite shows, and what we thought of them. And of course, if you've seen our previous videos, you know we watched RWBY, and Volume 7 just finished a couple weeks ago. Or it's a week and a half ago now.
Does it really matter?
Anyway, and we wanted to talk about our reaction to that. So, to be completely honest, we actually were really skeptical about Volume 7 because the ending of Volume 6 kind of left us a little underwhelmed. It was okay, until halfway through, and then after episode 9, it just kind of got weird. I mean...
Right, season 6 or season 7?
Season 6. But Volume 7 started, and for the first 2 episodes, I was like, what? But then it suddenly got really good all the way up to episode 11? Was that the one where we were just like, what? I want to say it was 12 where it just kind of went completely south.
The last 2 or 3 episodes.
Alright, starting with, of course, Crow teaming up with Tyrion to defeat
Did we put
Clover.
a spoiler warning here? Cause
if you haven't already seen it, I'm sorry, there's going to be spoilers.
Yeah.
I can put it in the title.
Okay.
Alright, but the biggest disappointment was in episode 13. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So if you've seen us discuss the RWBY plot and characters before, you know that some of our favorite characters are
Winter,
Weiss, Crow, Oscar, Pyrrha,
but she's not.
R.I.P. Pyrrha.
Yeah, and
that's
valid.
We don't like that many of them.
Well,
a whole lot. We like a lot of them.
Yeah.
Okay, and we really like some, and then others were like, I hate you. Like Cinder, I hate her. Why is she still in the show? Why is she
keep
not
on
dead?
target?
Oh yeah, Cinder got away again, but that's not what we're talking about right now.
Keep on target.
All right, so our least favorite part about it. Okay. Let's start. There's one thing we like. Let's talk about that, and then we'll talk about what all the rest bothered us. So the only thing we liked was Oscar.
Yes.
Oscar was pretty cool.
Mm. He was consistent.
He tried hard. He did not deserve to get shot.
Well, he didn't die.
We'll talk about that in a second.
I think the only reason we were disappointed, I feel like, at this point, is because they hadn't given him a character.
They honestly
yet.
Did not develop Oscar anymore.
So how were we supposed to be disappointed?
They didn't develop him anymore. We got no more backstory, no more motivations. We got nothing. But at least he stayed consistently how he has been, and we still like him. And him doing a Luke Skywalker fall unlock power moment was kind of cool. I thought Austin was acting weird, but Austin's always acting weird, so...
I mean, he didn't really say enough for me to decide whether he was weird.
Oscar was hashtag most relatable character this volume, even though he never gets any development and he barely gets any screen time, but he's still the most relatable because I now hate everybody else. But, okay, so, moving on. Oscar was the only person we still like after this volume.
So, I won't give Volume 7 the credit for ruining all of the characters. That would also go to volumes before that, because, characters like
who?
Well, I'd like to say Blake, because honestly, Blake hasn't felt like a real character since Volume 5.
True, she's hardly done anything.
She's kind of just been a zombie who is seems to be rather involved.
They kind of went nowhere with the racism thing. I know a lot of people were all upset. I wasn't. But it's kind of surprising that nothing happened with the whole anti-faunist thing.
They just didn't take any of the opportunities they already had for some reason.
It didn't just even come into the plot. Which I guess is okay, but why even bring it up then? You know?
And Ying was not ruined in the prior seasons, but I'd say she's become a lot more boring up until now, when now she's just kind of like a there to be angry when someone insults Blake
What was
in their not
hilarious
relationship.
this volume was everyone was getting called out for being hypocritical about hiding important information from the rest of the group, and no one at any point, well, said Yang. Well, I saw one person in the comments said it, so yay to whoever pointed that out. But nobody really seemed to care that Yang still hasn't told anyone that her mom is the Spring Maiden, not Vernal, and yeah, so they could kind of stick that thing back in the void if Raven would cooperate. At least it seems like important information to know in case Raven, dies or something. But Yang's like, I won't mention it, but I will, however, get mad at Ozpin and Ironwood for not telling us stuff, and just kind of go along with Ruby making the same decision, because,
Also, what's with her relationship with her sister?
It's completely different.
I know that Yang wasn't established as being very supportive in season 1, but it's been...
she was established as being supportive in season 1.
Well, she kind of ditched her. But, they still had a relationship, and it got better throughout the season, so where did that go?
I feel like that's a whole nother video. But sticking to what happened in the episode, Yang was barely in it at all, actually. Yang had, kind of out of the action, so we don't really need to talk about them. They only came in at the end. Ruby and Weiss were surprisingly also kept out of the action completely.
Odd.
So that was very weird.
Weiss had a little more to do.
Well, we'll talk about that. Ironwood's descent into insanity started the previous episode, so I guess we weren't that surprised. I was surprised he shot Oscar / his former boss off a cliff just for disagreeing with him when Oscar had already put his weapon away. He's kind of got over to the dark side. This is kind of exactly why nobody wanted to tell him the truth, and why I questioned him being in charge to begin with.
I feel like the build-up was kind of there, but not strong enough to really make a lot of sense.
I wish I could say I hadn't seen this coming since Volume 3, but I had.
Yeah, I kind of feel like they only had him go so far so that we would not be able to support his decisions anymore at all. Before it was somewhat relatable. You could tell he was slowly slipping, but you didn't think it was going to go too far yet. And now
he was like,
I feel like they just did it now
one time
to prove the main characters right for not trusting him. Which, granted, now that this has happened, seems like trusting him wouldn't have been the wisest choice. But before that, they had established their morality was to trust people more now.
Trust in love and open up our eyes. When did that ever happen? Trusting people constantly backfired during this entire volume. And nobody trusted in love. Trusted in guns. Trusted in telling people the truth, I guess, which everyone accepted very easily for some reason.
The closest to the actual trust and love theme anything really got was Ren Nora. And even Ren flipped out during the last 2 episodes.
I can't, why are we, losing? Oh, I can't believe, because it's not like this hasn't happened 3 times now.
Well, I think the fact that it has happened 3 times was the reason he was fleet.
I do sympathize with Ren, honestly. I'm not really saying I don't. It's just, it didn't go anywhere. And if you say, oh, well, it will go somewhere next volume, I'm like, that's a lot of nonsense, because if you can't make a point within 13 episodes, then you probably aren't going to make it at all.
That's another complaint, is what was the point?
What was the point of this volume?
This entire volume just seemed to be build up to Salem arriving. I guess that was supposed to be important, but why is she even physically here? And also, why would you waste all that time just to build up to one
I know people are going to say Salem was arriving because, hey, if you want something done right, do it yourself. But that's never been Salem's style, and I fail to see why, because a couple of kids have one lamp, she's going to suddenly throw everything out the window and just be like, you know what, screw it. Thousands of years have gone by and I've stayed in the shadows. Now's the perfect time to come out of hiding, because why? Because plot. That's why. There's no other reason. I mean, Atlas was already crumbling on itself without Salem being there. Her coming there is kind of stupid, because it's more likely to reunite the people now that there's an actual threat than to further divide them, which is supposed to be her whole goal, is to divide and then conquer. You know what I mean? So
I mean, all she wants to do is wipe out humanity, and she doesn't need
All?
to show up physically. Okay, not
but
all
they
is-
would wipe themselves out. Look, all you have to do, yank the staff out of Atlas. Atlas falls on Mantle. Everyone dies. Everyone.
Yeah, I fail to see your point.
True. Okay, she can't do that now that Penny is the Winter Man.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Oh, we'll get to it now. So Salem aside, everyone in this volume acted out of character again, except for Oscar, because he doesn't have enough character to really act out of it at all. How could you tell? You could always pin it on
We've
Ozpin.
We've discussed this.
But everyone else acted weird. I thought Weiss was acting weird from episode 1.
Weiss was shelved.
Weiss was shelved,
And like, she's just acting like
Well, we'll talk about Weiss in a second, but first, RWBY, what the heck? You know, I was promised, via apparently Lindsay, the voice actor for RWBY's comment, that RWBY was finally going to have some kind of breakdown. I don't call Salem taunting her about her mom and her getting intimidated the kind of breakdown we've been waiting for. She didn't process anything. She didn't talk about why it bothered her so much. Nothing got resolved. Nothing happened. And the next volume, we're not set up for a nice in-depth conversation. We're set up for lots of insane action. Probably ultimately the fall of Atlas and running to Vacuo, but not therapy, which is what everyone needs.
No hate towards any of the voice actors, but I don't call a protagonist speech character development.
Well, I'm not blaming the voice actor, but very, very misleading. Very misleading. And Crow, well...
What the flip happened to you?
Okay, I won't say it was that character so much as why would he team up with Tyrion? That felt wrong.
You know,
And then,
honestly,
like-
Crow hasn't been feeling quite like himself
Well...
since his voice actor got replaced.
Well, yeah.
His cadence has been slightly off, and
But I don't think it was the voice actor.
I wouldn't say that's wrong.
He just made bad decisions.
Honestly, it wasn't just the voice actor. It was the way he was written. Something was different.
Like, I can't blame the voice actor for the plot. And the plot really was weird where Crow was concerned. What was the whole point of his and Clover's friendship? The way it ended, I thought we were heading for Clover's arrogance because of his good luck charm thing and his devotion to Atlas is going to get him killed by Tyrion because he's not going to be paying attention. And instead it was Crow screws up yet again and Clover pays the price for
literally
it.
no reason.
Yeah, it's like...
I mean, if he wants to take down Clover, neutralize him, not kill him, he could have done that after he took down the actual murderer.
Like, here's a bright idea. Why don't Clover and Crow team up against the psychopath who should have got his head caught off before they even got to this point? And then you can duke it out after you kill Tyrion, who's not gonna wait around and be all nice. And he can kill... Well, actually, I guess not, because he decided to leave Crow alive for some unknown reason. Why does he want Crow alive?
He's a sadist?
I don't know. And why were none of the bad guys killed? Even Watts, who it certainly looked like was finally
It
dead.
did bug me that Watts wasn't dead, because it seemed so much like he was going to be. And Ironwood not killing an actual criminal, but actually trying to kill a 14-year-old seems kind of like an imbalance here. If he's going towards the dark side, he should have killed Watts first. Maybe that would even have been like a, oh no, he's killing people
I wouldn't
now.
have cared.
Yeah,
Watts is evil.
Yeah, honestly. But
Why
it's
did
still,
everyone drop
it
him
would
down
have
the
made-
shaft?
Maybe he did.
Instead, he drops Oscar down the shaft.
It was a hole. I don't think, because, I don't know. Why was there a hole down through Atlas,
I
actually?
don't know.
Who carved a hole through
I don't know.
Atlas?
Look, it's basically Star Wars.
I know.
Okay, the biggest problem. Here we go. What we hated the absolute most, and other stuff maybe we could overlook, but well, except for the Crow thing, not that. But this was where we just were like, no, this would never happen.
Okay.
All right, here's you probably already guessed. It was winter. Holy freaking moly! What has happened to Winter Snee?
Winter Schnee?
Winter Snee. We only knew her for one volume in the past, and for Chibi if you watched that. But she's freaking awesome in that volume, and she's hilarious in Chibi, and she's great, and we love her.
And I know the comics aren't usually considered canon, but in the comics her character was more consistent with how she was written in season 3. And completely different from season 7.
Yeah, okay, so Winter started off season 7 already acting a little bit strange. But I thought, oh well, I mean, new writers, it's not going to be exactly the same. I thought that just got hung up.
Hey, hello. Oh, sorry, I was getting distracted. Anyway, yeah, so basically, we thought at first that she was acting kind of more compliant with things that she wouldn't usually be compliant with than usual, because she was like a little bit frantic because Ironwood, as we found out pretty quickly, told her about Salem.
Yeah, I understand the pressure, but the way they framed it was that Winter was going to have some big moral choice to make. Is she going to kill the Winter Maiden? Is she going to spare her? Is she going to do the human thing? Is she going to do the soldier thing? Which, FYI, I think is kind of misrepresenting the military, but whatever.
Well,
that's the way they're choosing to do it.
Maybe not.
It depends on what military.
Yeah, it depends.
Because the Atlas military are basically scary barbarians. So.
Well, military.
Oh, come on.
Anyway.
So what she does instead is not only fail to get it when Penny points out, what you're doing is pretty mean and evil, Winter.
Which, by the way, how does a robot understand that better than a human?
Well, she doesn't understand it that well. But then Penny's doing the humane thing, gets the powers by accident, and we'll talk about that. And Winter's reaction is to basically lose her mind and scream at them and scream at Weiss, oh, I'm going to call the cops on you. And I'm like, this would have never happened ever if Winter was the same as she was before. And this is the reason I think so, is that before we're shown Winter does, she goes along with Atlas, but she was perfectly willing to break decorum and fight Crow in the courtyard upon very little provocation. She left her whole family because she's a rebel and she's disgusted with the way this company does things. If Winter was really such a totalitarian worshiper, or totalitarian in general, she wouldn't have done those things. Winter has a conscience. I know she's devoted to Ironwood, but we were never led to believe, in my opinion, that she was devoted enough to completely turn a blind eye to obvious atrocities. Obvious. Ironwood didn't do anything in Volume 3 that would really make her question him, but this is straight up asking her to murder somebody. And like, even if she was willing to go through with that, if it went to Penny, I think she's just like, oh well, didn't work out. But the Winter that we were introduced to before seemed like she would take it in stride, not lose her cool, and yell at Weiss, who had nothing to do with the problem.
She didn't yell at Weiss.
Well, she
just told her she was going to call
it's a
Basically, she told her she was going to call the Popo. But,
yeah, and I'm like, and I also can't see Winter calling the police on her own family.
Well, yeah, it was kind of weird.
She can't even stand up to her father properly.
So
she's
like,
not going to call the police on Weiss.
Like, Team Ranger was with them at that point, weren't they?
No.
No?
They weren't.
So then, okay, they weren't there. So I guess she would need medical attention because John couldn't just heal her.
Even harder to believe is that Weiss would walk away and leave her sister to bleed out. I'm sorry. The whole point of Weiss's character arc up to this point has been to learn not to just do what her sister or her family tell her to do. That, I think, would include not leaving your sister to die when she's clearly lost her mind and her ability to think clearly.
I really thought at the end of this volume Winter was going to have to be faced with the choice of sticking with Atlas or not, and she was going to choose to go with them to Vacuo or wherever they were going next. And that didn't happen.
Instead, they painted it like Winter never even really considered that as an option. Like, she never even thought for herself at all. And again, that's so against Winter's entire backstory that she wouldn't think for herself. How does one go from being independent enough to walk away from your family fortune to being stupid enough to do whatever Ironwood says just because he says it? When you know it's wrong, and you can admit that it's wrong. That's not the Winter we were introduced to. That's a complete change. And hey, yell at me all you want, although I don't think anyone will, that I don't really know the character that well. But if you were going by what we're shown initially, and then that's all we have for like 3 volumes, to suddenly change it just because you want to have a theme of turning to the darkness in volume 7 is not good writing. That's lazy writing. Because you couldn't make a compelling enough conflict to make it feel real. You just had to force Winter to be a complete jerk. And to turn her against Weiss, the only person she ever showed a human side with anyway. Except for Ironwood.
Yeah, she was really vulnerable with Weiss and Ironwood, and that was about it.
Love how they showed Ironwood doesn't really care about
I really
Winter.
thought that what they were going to do was just have the team, you know, with Clover's team. What was it called? I don't know.
Aesops.
The
Sops.
Aesops.
Whatever.
Yes, the Fable reference, which didn't go anywhere. But I really thought the Aesops were going to end up being the main antagonistic fighters next to Ironwood, and they were going to be the ones to turn against them, and they did. But they weren't the main conflict. They were just set dressing for a relatively cool fight.
Meryl was going to change sides too. But literally every opportunity for anyone to change sides got thrown out the window. Oh, one. Except for one. Penny, the twist that made the least sense, and I'm convinced not a single person wanted.
Well, there were some people maybe, but they weren't paying attention to the story. I can't
think of anybody who wanted Penny to be the Winter Maiden.
There are Penny stands, I'm sure that exists.
But to be the Winter Maiden. Okay, I know every fan's probably going to be asking this, but how is it possible for a robot to inherit magical powers?
See, I was thinking about this, and I came up with this idea where I was like, wait, it's stated in the first episode, or second episode, we meet her creator, that he takes a piece of his own soul and puts it into her body every time she gets destroyed.
Yes, that
Meaning,
doesn't help.
There is a male soul in her body. Exactly. She's a programmed female personality with a male soul in her body.
Yeah.
So, how can she receive the powers?
See, like, if you say it's her soul, then it's a male soul, and there's no reason it should bond it. If you're gonna say, oh, it doesn't matter, once it's in her body, it's a female, that's a load of crap.
There's no female gender to her body. The only reason she's a girl is because she's programmed that way.
Since Rooster Teeth is so gender neutrality, that seems a little hypocritical to say that doesn't matter.
They made the statement that a biological male or female like goes by these certain rules. Like, you have to be a biological female to receive the maiden powers. You can't think of yourself or identify as a female. That's not how it works. They've clarified that. Otherwise, it'd be kind of creepy in some situations because...
I mean, yeah, it's weird. They'd have to...
Same thing for Austin's power. Can only go to another like-minded man. So...
Well, I never said it was a man, but we never saw it as anything but a man, so...
That is true.
Assuming there's some kind of connection.
I'm assuming there hasn't been a female Austin. I'm just assuming.
I guess you have to think like a man, you have to think like a woman. Whatever. They said it can't go to a man. So if you say it's Penny's soul, that's nonsense. If you say it's the fact that she's programmed with a girl's personality, she's a robot. You might just as well say it could go into a computer. If a computer was like the last thing holding Winter Maiden's hand, which it could very well have been. It's like saying Siri could inherit the powers.
Oh no.
Siri, you're the Winter Maiden now. Oh, I always wanted to go to Hogwarts. Or something like that.
What does it mean?
It's a joke.
Moving on.
Okay, so I don't care how they try to explain it. There is no way this makes any sense at all. And if you ask me, as soon as Penny tries to use the power, she's going to explode. Because she shouldn't be able to.
That would be just
walks up, tries to like say this,
explodes.
Like any inanimate object could inherit the powers. The arrow that Cinder killed the Autumn Maiden with could have inherited the powers. I'm sorry, it just doesn't work that way. A Grimm could inherit the powers if we're going to keep following this logic.
Well, I think their whole point is it has to have a soul, but it has to be a female soul.
Summer did end up being the Summer Maiden, then this is going to be even more fun, isn't it? So...
the only reason they did this was because they knew everyone thought that Winter was going to be the Winter Maiden.
Yeah.
Because it's the thematic name, or Weiss. They thought it was going to be one of the two.
And honestly, yeah, it's predictable, but I don't really care. Because at least it made sense.
Yeah, I thought whether or not Winter became a maiden by killing the maiden or not, but still ended up becoming one.
Neo becoming a maiden as a theory made more sense than would have
made more sense and probably been more dramatic.
Now, I didn't like that option. I didn't really like Winter as the Winter Maiden under the circumstances, but to change it just to subvert our expectations is kind of like the way Game of Thrones ended. It's like, why would you do that just so we'll be surprised? It doesn't make any sense. It breaks the internal logic of the show. Not that this is the first time that has happened. But how do you come back from this one? I don't say you're going to retcon this
Also,
into being logical.
like, nothing really surprised me this season other than with stuff that made me upset. Like, I knew Clover was gonna die. I thought maybe the entire team was gonna die for the Aesops. And I was pretty sure that, like, Ironwood was going to turn against them and have them arrested or something. So I wasn't surprised by a lot of the plot points this season, other than the ones that just didn't make sense and just ended up making people go, why? So
that's all I was saying afterwards was, why? Why would they do this? Why are they doing it this way?
also, Cinder's a coward,
Cinder is a coward.
which I didn't really think was
And
untrue.
she should have died.
I didn't think that was untrue, but she really should have died.
Oh, but now she's got the relic, so yay! That was a genius move. Honestly, why?
Really, the only
Oscar had one job.
I made this. Yeah, he did. I've kind of had this joke that in my mind where I'm like, the only characters at this point who are going to be the stars of the next season, because everyone left, is going to be Oscar and Whitley, because they're still there.
I would still prefer that to whatever they're going to
They're
do.
gonna have a buddy cop duo next season.
An Oscar Whitley buddy cop duo would be much more tolerable than it's Armageddon 2.0.
But at least,
And not the last one
at
either.
least next season, maybe Winter will actually stop being an idiot, and we'll have some reconciliation.
In my opinion, though, they've already gone so far to making her irredeemable by her not even hesitating here that I don't see even what a redemption arc would do at this point.
She does seem
Is
to
she
be
going to
acting
reunite with
kind
Weiss?
of-
Weiss is willing to just break it off and let her go.
Yeah.
Again, out of character for Weiss.
Like, her line where, I guess everyone has to make their own choices.
That made me sick.
Ugh. Like, it's something that Weiss might
No.
believe, but
Okay.
not, that's the wrong context entirely.
Sometimes you have to stand up to your family and tell them this is unacceptable behavior and you know it is. And as we very well know, huh?
Well, anyway.
But, yeah, you don't... I'm sorry, but moving on from your family does not mean walking out on them when their life is in danger. That's a terrible message, and I would like to smack whoever came up with that idea.
And also, RWBY did the same thing. They didn't even look for Crow.
And nobody asked where Oscar was. Now, I don't care if they do it in the beginning of the next volume. Moment is over. I shouldn't have to wait 7 months for that.
Yeah, nor as soon as they got there, since they were supposed to be traveling in a group, should have been like, where's Oscar? Did Oscar even tell them he was going to meet Ironwood? We don't know. They didn't show
That's
the
how they
scene.
realize Oscar's gone. Oscar's gonna be long gone, guys. Ha ha ha.
What does it mean?
I don't know. Alright, but, okay, so, no really further comments. Watts' part was ultimately disappointing in all this.
Actually, one last comment.
And, the Mrs. Snee was cool, but
She was actually one of the better
ultimately, except for,
I liked their family
exposing
drama.
Jacques, which they didn't do that much with. That part was okay, but since it has led to nothing happening with Winter and Weiss,
Or Whitley.
all I can hope is that Whitley will
do something.
try to become an okay character.
That'd be nice.
But he shouldn't be the Snee I'm rooting for at this point.
Yeah.
And I liked Weiss up till this volume, but I like.
Anyway,
No.
my last comment would be the whale is a dumb idea. I don't care if it shoots a laser through its face.
Ah, yeah, it's gonna eat Penny and then she'll kill it from inside or something.
Or maybe she'll actually die.
Ooh, wouldn't that be great?
Because then I think they set up the
I don't even
Chekhov's...
know.
They set up the Chekhov's gun where her creator has to put a piece of his soul in each time and it makes himself weaker, so maybe they'll have him self-sacrifice to bring her back again.
That's what I thought was going to happen. He'll
Yeah.
jump down the whale after her or whatever.
How's he going to do that in
Or
a
he'll
wheelchair?
spit Penny back up until she Pinocchio died, but then the blue fairy brought him back to life, or maybe Ruby will laser eye her or something.
Okay,
I don't know. I don't care.
Okay.
I don't care. I don't like Penny. I never liked Penny that much. She was okay, but she was nothing but a plot device in this volume.
I mean, do we just resent her because she got to come back and Pyrrha didn't?
That's partly it, but also I just don't think she was used at all as a character very well.
Well, anyway.
But that's all we have to say. This has already gotten longer than we intended. If you watch this, thanks for caring about our opinion.
You spent a half an hour.
Comment, like, whatever. If you had any problems you noticed, agree with us, disagree with us, whatever. Subscribe if you want to see more of this. We'll probably do more eventually. We really should talk about My Hero Academia sometime. Yes. I don't know where we only talk about shows that we like to complain about. We should talk about shows we like.
Well, we liked RWBY.
Oh, well. Hey, let us know if there's a show you think we should watch. If you're the kind of person who likes recommending stuff. More sign videos coming soon. Peace out.
Bye.
And bye.